Hello, welcome to the Massive Attack tour. My name's Robb Allan. I'm mixing front of house on the tour. We just come back from Glastonbury. We just got all of the mud out of everything. I've been mixing Massive Attack since 2006, on and off. I made the jump from analog to digital around about in 2005. And since then on venues I've mixed a few bands. I've mixed on Avid venue desks. I've mixed Coldplay, I've mixed Richard Ashcroft, Manic Street Preachers, who are actually the first band I ever mixed when I made the analog to digital jump. I mixed them on a D show back in the day. We have 5 different singers on this tour who all come out and work individually and sometimes together. So yeah, I have all that programmed to the desk. It's a kind of interesting challenge. Each singer has a different quality to their voice. It relates to the music in a slightly different way. Of course, I have to EQ them differently. I have to make them sit in the mix differently. I use different effects, different plugins on each of the voices so we can tailor the sound around each voice. So it's not just in fact about how their voice is, but how their voice relates to the rest of the band. So actually you have to tailor the mix around the voice to a certain extent. It's quite an interesting challenge. It's like doing 5 different bands, one after the other, with no gaps. It's almost like each song is a different band. One of the big things about Massive Attack is the collaboration. So what we needed to be able to do was to collaborate on the kind of sound that we needed to make, to collaborate with the artists about not just the details of the sound, but the kind of viscerality of it, how physically the audience would get involved in the sound. And the only way to do that was in a virtual sound check mode. So we sat in a production rehearsal for a week, and the band would play, and I'd get it down onto Pro Tools, then we'd play it back, and we'd sit around as a group and discuss the mix, and to discuss the kind of emotional impact of some of the sounds as well. So not just the detail of the snare up here, the hi-hat down here, but at this point in the set we need the audience to be engaged emotionally in a particular way. So we need to accentuate the sub bass, or this needs to be really aggressive, which tends to transmit high mids into the audience. So we did sit and go in a lot of detail, not just details of audio, but details of how the audio kind of has a kind of psycho-emotional effect on an audience as well. So it was a kind of interesting process that we went through. We've been in Iceland, we're going to go to Lebanon, so some of the time we're having to fly the audio equipment as well as just take it in trucks. You probably saw earlier we got a couple of trucks with audio and lights and video, but for some of the gigs further away, like Iceland, we had to fly it. So it's really important that I had a small and compact setup, something that could fly, that didn't weigh very much, because every extra kilo of weight was very expensive to the production, which naturally meant for me that I would use the S3L. It's the smallest, most compact desk with enough power to do the show. I've only ever mixed them on venue consoles. I certainly can't imagine mixing them on an analog console, out of the question. And I can't even imagine mixing it on any other digital console. Actually, the venue's the only consoles that give me the plugins, the recording, the virtual sound check. It's unthinkable to do the kind of things I do instantaneously on one frame of a time code. I make 17 different changes around the mix. Unthinkable in an analog world. Just wouldn't happen. Couldn't do it.
Oh, where those flowers go, a long time passing. Oh, why you keep us just to keep me tasking? I want you to keep on asking.
I'm just going to play you a tune. Now just just kind of show the kind of stuff that we're doing. I'm going to play Paradise Circus. So I'll set the Pro Tools running. And here we go. We're in a virtual soundcheck mode, so it gives me it means I can like kind of check on stuff. I can check on my electric snare, make sure that that's okay. There's my kick drum. Over here I've got my pianos. Martina's going to start to sing in a minute. Over here I have my I could just work on our vocal. I want to check what the plugins are doing. I can dive straight in there. Here's my delay.
But we like it when we're spinning.
And I can work on here.
And it's great.
Change the time a little bit. I'm happy with that. I can go back to the inputs page quickly. There's the acoustic drums coming now. Got my reverb over here. Lovely bass line, old style reggae bass line. See, I had a lot of top end to the bass guitar. There's a guitar here. I did a little bit delay there in the gaps. I quite often do this on the reverb, on the drums. Build it up, it's instrumental now, so I'm building it up towards the end of the song. The old reggae snare.